Come on along, I'll take you to the lullaby of Broadway. The hit parade.
Level of Guys and Dolls.
Detroit. If you're looking for action, he'll furnish the spot. Even when the heat is on, it's never too hot.
I did not see the original show, so I'm waiting with a great anticipation because I will see the new one. The one song that immediately comes to mind is Sue Me, Sue Me.
Thanks, Ed.
Oh, tonight Fox 5 gave you a front row seat to the Broadway opening of the 1950s musical Guys and Dolls. Stuart Klein is there right now and joins us from the Martin Beck Theater. Stu, in his review.
Thanks, Corinne. 42 years after it first opened on Broadway, Guys and Dolls is the freshest, funniest, and most fervent show in town. It's a timeless masterpiece, and without question, the best musical on Broadway.
Why is good old reliable Nathan, 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 Detroit?
Frank Lesser's magnificent songs are crafted so perfectly that time and again I literally cried with joy.
I got the horse right here, the name's Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do.
Also crackling with wit is the book by Abe Burrows, based on Damon Runyon's short stories. You know the plot. They've hung a lock on the door at PS 84, and Nathan Detroit is finding it harder and harder to locate a place for
This established permanent floating crab game in New York.
It's especially frustrating for Nathan, for the crapshooters include such well-heeled citizens as Harry the Horse, who just got $5,000 reward money for turning in his own father, and Big Julie of East Cicero, Illinois, who says he can prove his exemplary life, 33 arrests, and no convictions. And it's even more frustrating for Miss Adelaide.
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck.
Played sensationally by Faith Prince, Adelaide is the hotbox cutie with the 100% eyes who's been engaged to Nathan for 14 years. And she's so upset by the chronic wait for marriage, she's developed a chronic cold.
In other words, just from waiting around for that plain little band of gold, a person can develop a cold.
So sue me, what can you do me? I love you.
You gamble it here, you gamble it there, you gamble on everything all except me, and I'm sick of you keeping me up in the air till you're back in the money again.
I've never been in love before.
There's also the romance between Sister Sarah of the Salvation Army and High Roller Sky Masterson of the Sewers, who's determined to win some sinners for Sarah.
Stick with me, baby, I'm the fella you came in. Be a lady.
And the devil will drag you under. The soul so heavy you'll never float. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. You rockin' up, sit down.
And all of this, music, lyrics, book, design, a wonderful cast led by Nathan Lane as Nathan, Peter Gallagher as Sky, Josie DeGuzman as Sarah, directed brilliantly by Jerry Zaks, adds up to sheer ecstasy. I'm ready to go back and see it again right now.
Call it sad, call it funny, but it's better than even money. That the guy's only doing it for some love. The guy's only doing it for some love.
Back on Broadway in a stirring revival of a modern classic, Guys and Dolls. Hurry to the box office and get your tickets before it's sold out, possibly for years. One slight complaint, doing these reviews outdoors, a person could develop a cold. This is Stuart Klein on Broadway for Fox 5 News.
All right, Stuart, still ahead.
Detroit have such perfect chemistry that director Zaks wisely builds his show around them. Sky Masterson and his Salvation Army doll become secondary characters. Josie DeGuzman seems to know she has a thankless role. How can a girl stop a show in a uniform? And Peter Gallagher as Sky has a good voice, but needs charisma to match his luck.
Luck, if you've ever been a lady to begin with. Luck, be a lady tonight.
With wild costumes, Tony Walton's ingenious set, and Chris Chadman's all-new choreography, Guys and Dolls once again is the best musical in town.
Call it sad, call it funny, but it's better than even money. That the guy's only doing it for some dough.
York is no longer the town Damon Runyon wrote about and Frank Lesser put to music. But for 3 hours inside the Martin Beck Theater, it is once again a magical place. I'm Pat Collins, Channel 9 News.
How about that? Everybody's going to know the music, too, when they go there, for that one.
Oh, sure. They'll be all prepped.
Guys, the 1950s Broadway classic Guys and Dolls is back on Broadway tonight. Channel 2 entertainment editor Dennis Cunningham has a review for us. Dennis, we can't stop singing the tunes.
No, this is a pleasure. Yeah, I firmly and fondly believe that Guys and Dolls is the ultimate musical comedy. When it comes to adding serious drama, then I'd mention Sweeney Todd or Gypsy or maybe West Side Story, but musical comedy, Guys and Dolls. And under Jerry Zaks' direction, this revival is a first-class production of the ultimate musical comedy, a Broadway fable based on Damon Runyon's stories about the creatures of a long-ago Times Square that may never have existed, but is nonetheless still vividly alive.
Why, it's good old reliable Nathan, 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 Nathan.
It's a world of sweetheart gamblers and adorable gangsters. At the center, actor Nathan Lane, wonderfully comic as Nathan Detroit, the man who runs the oldest established permanent floating crap game in New York. The women, or dolls as we call them, they're led by Faith Prince as a nightclub performer, Miss Adelaide, a woman who's been engaged to Nathan for 14 years and whose patience is wearing thin.
When I think of the time gone by, Adelaide, I think of the way I...
The romantic leads, Peter Gallagher as high roller Sky Masterson and Josie de Guzman as Salvation Army doll Sister Sarah. Their work is fine and true, but it takes a backseat to Nathan and Adelaide. In fact, Faith Prince's Adelaide is an A Star Is Born performance. By the way, the big crap game does go on, though under a manhole beneath the streets of New York. The show's high point, however, when the crap game participants, as a favor to Sky, testify at Sister Sarah's Save a Soul mission. Leading that song terrifically, Walter Bobby as Nicely, Nicely Johnson. High praise also to J.K. Simmons as Benny Southstreet, Herschel Sparber as Big Julie, and Ernie Sabella as Harry the Horse. Also, the fabulous sets by Tony Walton, lights by Paul Gallo, costumes by William Ivy Long. And you know what? The highest praise to the original creators 42 years ago, Frank Lesser, who did the phenomenal music and lyrics, the original director, George S. Kaufman, and my personal lifelong hero, Abe Burrows. In honor of all of them, an encore.
Call it sad, call it funny, but it's better than even money. That the guy's only doing it for some dough. The guy's only doing it for some dough.
It's as perfectly crafted as Tiffany's finest. Whoa. Guys and Dolls.
It is fun.
I think we know you pretty well. You really love this.
Oh.
And so many people we found in the newsroom have been in it at one time or another. You were in it once.
Yeah,
you were in it once, right?
About that.
Nathan Detroit.
Yeah, this is not, fortunately, that performance.
Look at it, sir. Nearer. Miss Taylor will even give you a kiss if you want.
Well, Liz was trying to auction off a gold and platinum mask with over 900 diamonds at an AIDS benefit at Christie's, but she couldn't get the minimum bid of $600,000, so you still got time to snap up this bauble. Interestingly enough, the closest bid was $550,000. That's pretty close, I would say. That's $50,000.
You look good in that, I think.
I would love it. Any time as a co-anchor gift. You know.
Might be a little much for Halloween, though. That's our news for this.
Right here, Frank Lesser's great tribute to Damon Runyon, Guys and Dolls, is back on Broadway. Pia Lindstrom was on the aisle.
The staging and choreography are brisk and snappy.
Why is good old reliable Nathan, 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 Nathan Detroit?
Nathan Lane is dynamite as Nathan Detroit, setting up the floating crap game in this Frank Lesser musical. Faith Prince is both comic and touching as Adelaide, his fiancée of 14 years.
And furthermore, just from stalling and stalling and stalling the wedding trip, a person can develop law grip.
Peter Gallagher, who has a pleasant but modest voice, makes a smooth, handsome gambler, Sky Masterson. I do have some reservations about Josie de Guzman, the understudy, who stepped into the role of the mission girl, Sister Sarah, who converts Sky Masterson.
I've really never been in love.
Josie de Guzman doesn't seem to have quite as much sparkle as some of her co-stars, but coming into the musical late, she was probably handicapped. This Guys and Dolls is a lively, colorful production, and that's no crapshoot.
That's good to hear. That show is full of some of the greatest songs and hits from one end of it to the other. And one of my favorites is What's in the Daily News? I'll tell you what's in the Daily News.
And what is it? Luck Be My Lady Tonight?
Sit down, you're rocking the boat.
Sit down, you're rocking the boat. You've
Don't
heard
sing.
a couple of the other ones.
No.
Yeah, I love it.
When you meet a guy, what's the line? When you meet a guy, I forgot. Go see the show.
In town had nothing but raves for the revival of the musical Guys and Dolls. And everybody and his brother wants to see it. Guys and Dolls set a record yesterday for selling tickets. Nearly $400,000 in sales. That is some $38,000 more than the old one-day record. That was set by Phantom of the Opera back in 1988. Corinne?